handcrafted drinks, and weekly specials. Book your private event at hoodfellowsbistrocatering.com.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to another episode of the Keita Maria Show. Today we have a very special guest. Her name is Katie. I'm going to bring Katie in.
Hey, how are you?
I am fine. Hi, Katie. How are you?
Good.
Yes. So I always start my shows off with sage. So I'm gonna light some sage just so we can get our energy right where our energy needs to be. So how are you feeling today?
Oh, pretty good. The change of weather is actually, I would say, cleansing.
Yes, I believe so too.
Get rid of everything.
So first, I'm gonna get into your Beyond Energy Center. We're gonna talk about many different topics today, but first, I want to start off with the Beyond Energy Center, just so you can enlighten people on exactly what it is that you do, how you help people, how you help heal people. So, I just want to go into that. So,
Yeah.
how long have you had Beyond Energy?
Well, I technically have had the facility for over 26 years. The Beyond Energy has kind of grown into basically a branding. I personally have been doing it for 32 years, but on site for 26 years.
Right. That
Yeah.
is so cool. So in your Beyond Energy Center, you have many different layers to it. You do energy healing, you do cleansing, you do land sculpture, spiritual connection, therapy, workshop, retreats. You have so many different layers already on with when it comes to the Beyond Energy. And I know you're going to add some more, but I want to talk into like the energy healing. Like, let's get into that. Could you like describe that a little briefly so people can know exactly what energy healing is, and if they are interested in that service, they can know more about it.
Yeah, actually, it's very interesting. It's traditionally, because I'm Apache, Navajo, and Hopi, um, energy healing is traditionally what we call it. No, I know most people have heard of like Reiki and things like that, which is similar, but there isn't so much concept in it, meaning it's more natural based. We take our ability of exchanging energy. So if someone has, anxiety, depression, or something that's going on with them, I will suggest multiple things. But lots of people are very into energy healing, which is very similar to Reiki, but done slightly different.
Okay.
So what we're doing is we're taking crystals and stones and we're creating an energy shift. So when someone is feeling a lot of depression or anxiety, what we'll do or what I do is I will introduce to them my cultural ideas of displacing and understanding that you hold that inside. So it's a way to get rid of it, in many levels, but this particular one is they will basically be in a relaxed state. I personally put different crystals in different points of their body. So I might tell them to put them in their hands. Everyone's different. I might place one above their head. I might put it on their chest. I might put it near their feet. And basically, you are performing you're not touching. What you're doing is you're feeling energy. It's very similar to when you come inside and from the outside and you are cold and you're almost radiating heat because your body is reacting to being very cold. It's the same concept as when they're, in a relaxed state. And some people like to lay down, some people like to sit in a chair. It really doesn't matter. It's where they feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And you're basically going over their body and you're doing a breathing exercise, very similar to meditation. So
Okay.
I'm breathing in and breathing out, and I'm kind of consuming their energy as they are releasing theirs. And
Right.
it sounds kind of silly, but it really, we are made up of energy. We never leave, even when we go on to the other side. So
Mm-hmm.
we're able to kind of, once you believe deeply enough that there is many possibilities in life, people have basically fallen asleep when I do it, and they get real recharged because it's mostly that they feel someone's listening to them. They understand that there is an exchange of energy and they can feel it, and a tingling can happen.
Right.
Everybody has a different type of experience, but it's usually generally the same thing. It's a tingling, a relaxing, and they get to actually, for the once in their life, feel 100% free,
Right.
because we're always never able to be comfortable in our own skin and
Mm-hmm.
be able to share that moment. So
Right.
it's levels of them seeing themselves and how beautiful they really are to feel free, and two, to be able to think that there's many possibilities, and them allowing their energy to relax and then move together. And it's very interesting. Everybody's different. People
Right.
come for different reasons, and it's a multi-level conversation, but people usually enjoy it and they come away with it not thinking that this even was a possibility.
Right. And you have people come into your property from like all over the world, right?
They come from all different states.
Mm.
They can stay here. I do have people from Canada coming, hopefully in March.
Mm-hmm.
So it's exciting to me to bring a lot of different people all the time, because I can house them, they can stay. I'm hoping to be able to have a lot of places for people to stay,
Right.
um, because it would bring multi levels of, healing and prospects of so many different things to occur, because it can kind of allow people to relax.
Right.
Once you go through a healing process, you still need to kind of
Relax.
relax.
Yeah.
It could be kind of rough.
So how's horse therapy? I
So
know.
horse therapy is, it's, you can ask anything, but basically the premise of it is the horses I have are trained in horse therapy. And
Okay.
honestly, it just really means that they're, they didn't like go to some special school. It just means really that they're very kind and loving. Animals in general will find, if you are stressed,
Mm-hmm.
or if possibly, let's say, if you have a child who has autism or any kind of disability that you're not actually aware of, they're very kind to them. They'll actually walk up to them, they'll nuzzle them, they'll know that they have to kind of act a little bit different than someone else, for say. They'll push buttons a little bit. But the premise of it is for someone to gain trust
Mm-hmm.
with the animal without saying a word.
Right.
Because lots of us don't have that ability, and mostly because we've been through trauma, stress, or we're just not at that point. We're not ready to share. We're not ready to talk. Maybe we're too young,
Right.
whatever it is. But a horse, when they walk up to you and they look at you with those beautiful eyes, you sort of melt. And how
Right.
can you not want to, okay, well, what do I do now? And so then we'll interact. And, it's as simple as basically them learning that this horse now is waiting for them.
Right.
So basically, when they come, they learn that this horse is now walking or running to them.
Right. So with the horse therapy, are you actually on the horse, like riding the horse, or is it pretty much like a non-touching situation with the horses as well?
It depends. Right now, a lot of my clients right now aren't, they're kind of afraid. So I don't push it. You don't have to ride the horse, because the relationship and the trust begins on the ground,
Right.
because you, one, have to be introduced. You have to feel comfortable, and you start interacting. And I don't really say anything at first. People just start doing something. They either like pet their face, pet, you
Right.
know, they it's their first step, and that's key. Meaning, I introduce, but you're making the first step.
Right.
No one's pushing you. It's not predisposed. There's no, in a box with a room with someone who's questioning you and putting you on them. It's your choice, your thought. And then once that starts happening, then I'll say, okay, would you like to walk the horse? Would you like to brush the horse? And so it's their choice to go into it more, to learn more. And then I'll say, well, do you want to know their name? Do you want to learn a little bit more? So we'll just start talking about the well-being and what the horse needs.
Right.
And then they start to realize, oh, okay, well, I could help this horse. So in fact, they came for help, but in fact, they're helping the horse.
Right.
So it's switched. So now their compassion is, hold on, wait, I need to help him or her.
Mm-hmm.
And so now when they think about when someone, like if I talk to them, because that's what will happen, I'll start going through therapy and discussing during this movement, but now it doesn't feel pushed. It doesn't feel like I'm judging. It's more relaxed because they are interacting themselves.
Right.
So now they'll freely say, they'll start talking to me, why they decided to come, what is making them so happy. They're now understanding that this horse doesn't know this person, but they now want their help.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And it's that simple. So then the relationship begins, and then my relationship with them begins.
Right.
So they can talk, and then everyone's different.
Mm-hmm.
So some people might go on a big detail of, more, and some will just basically want to keep brushing and talking to them and taking care of them.
Okay. And what are your retreats like on your property?
Well, I have a lot of different retreats. The last retreat I did was actually a cultural retreat. So we were kind of talking about bringing back our own ways of prayer and understanding traditionally. So
Okay.
we would go down. I have a building which I've named the Healing Building, which is very cool because it's a very large building. There's a sound system in there. So we do drum circles. We do, different singing and chantings of all different stuff. We do meditations. So what we were doing on the last retreat was basically, it was about war paint and what the symbols meant.
Okay.
Of course. So I know you've probably seen movies and you've seen like handprints on horses,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe a hoof print, and there were different colors like red, black, or white. So I was kind of explaining what that meant and why it was done,
Okay.
and it would release people. So, for instance, if you saw a white circle around a war pony,
Mm-hmm.
it meant it was to open the realms to the different world. The reason why they did that is because if you're about to basically go to your death, they believe spiritually, can we, there has to be another moment. You hear stories that, there's one, warrior left when everybody's been pushed down. Could he, or what is that? And then there's as simple as, the red handprints, they actually mean, how many people that they've conquered during their war. And I was just explaining the different colors and what they meant, and kind of introducing that to people who wanted to release. So I had a woman who she actually survived cancer.
Okay.
So she came to that retreat, and she wanted to kind of create her own different collage, I guess can say, on the horse, which was her power to get back,
Mm-hmm.
because she basically was facing death. So she took the premise that I was explaining about the meanings of the war ponies and all the symbols, like some of them meant, you were a powerful warrior, or you stole a lot of horses, or you were, a chief. So she took all those symbols and put them on the horse, because we
Right.
did like painting. So
Mm-hmm.
she took back all that she lost.
Right.
It was her control.
Right.
And she was so intense for her. She was crying, and because she didn't have any control.
Yeah.
So she had control of this. It's simplistic of just that, putting handprints or hoof prints, and, the circles and whatever she did. It was her choice, her feelings, and she just came away with that with such pride, is the only way I can describe it. It kind of sounds like a strange one, but it kind
doesn't
of
sound
interacts.
strange.
It's different. It's different.
Yes. What about I know you do land sculptures. Let's get into that a little bit.
So land sculptures are basically when someone comes to me, they'll ask, I want to do something traditional. What can I do?
Okay.
So I show them what we call communication stacks. So I know you probably have maybe been hiking or go places where you see these stones that are stacked up,
Mm-hmm.
and you're probably like, what does that mean? Traditionally, that meant that you were communicating. So like if an area back a long time ago, it was your tribe or your family, or it wasn't. It was telling people not to go in those areas. So I would make big land sculptures of huge, like big flat stones, and stack them, and either, put big round crystals to kind of make it pretty. So
Right.
I would make all of these different things around their property. I have them on my property, and it's basically kind of bringing old traditional ways back, but in your way you want it to look. And what's neat about it is because it looks so natural,
Mm-hmm.
but people can put lighting on it, and that's very pretty. I have a lot with lighting, and crystals, where they put big beautiful crystals on top of these stacks, which are beautiful, because it always looks different during different seasons, and the lighting is pretty.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, I can't wait to visit Beyond Energy. I cannot wait to come. But what I'm gonna do is we're gonna pull up your website, because you have a lot of cool things on there. You have prayer kits, you have handcrafted pipes. So we're gonna get your website pulled up, and we're gonna go through some of your accessories that you have on your website, and we're just gonna talk about like the meaning of them, what they mean, and I know you physically make these pieces by yourself. So each piece is handmade, which I think is so cool. So we're gonna go into you got
Yeah. So yeah, in the store. So
yeah.
these are, yeah. So that's a prayer fan, that is made for ceremony and all sorts of different things.
Okay.
I'm echoing. um, I have a store where it's different price levels, because some of the pricing is kind of high, because it's custom made and a little bit more, detailed, with beautiful stones and leather and fur. I'm hoping you're hearing me okay. It's echoing. um,
Hold
but
on,
these are
you're
all
echoing on my mic a little bit.
sorry.
Let me see. Your prayer kit. Tell me about your prayer kit.
Okay, so the prayer kits they're very nice, because when you're starting to learn about the different culture that maybe kind of looking into, um, but it's kind of hard. So you feel a lot of, I wanted to find everything that is important. So there's a lot of protection stones, black onyx, which, you know, each culture believes in different protection stones and they are. But personally, I think a beginner kit always begins with black onyx, and then you have tobacco, there's sage, and I believe there's a couple of in there. But basically, it gives you your ultimate protection kit that you kind of have with you, and also about means to help include you and to use that to do prayers, even just to have it with you. Some people carry them in their purse, their backpack, school, or they just have it like in an area in their room, or they take a little pray.
Okay. And what about your prayer?
I'm sorry.
Your prayer.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. It's echoing, so it's hard to understand.
Okay. That sounds like we're echoing. You hear that, Diamond?
These are different. Sorry.
Okay. Can you hear me a little better now?
Yes, I can.
No, I can hear you clear too now. I think it was just when we pulled the website up.
That's okay. I mean, I could quickly just go over it without. Okay.
Yep, there it goes. And you can still hear me, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
So let's talk about your prayer kits, your prayer feathers.
Yeah, so the prayer feathers are pretty interesting. So most of the feathers and I guess antlers or anything that I have, I basically hunted them. So they've been created from the ground up, meaning I don't buy them. I don't, do that. So they've been basically taken from the beginning to when something's made, which is very nice. So it has a longer purpose. So the prayer feathers actually have a cloth at the bottom. That cloth are used during sweat lodges. In the sweat lodge, you make something called prayer bags. Those prayer bags, you go through a sweat lodge and you pray and you go through a sweat. And so it's very sacred. In that sacred moment, you have a chief or someone who's leading the sweat. So it's very powerful. So each prayer feather has that cloth that is on each feather. So not only are they getting a prayer feather, which is like a prayer fan, but obviously smaller, they're also getting the premise of what that was originally used for during an actual sweat that I went through, which then gives them a bigger meaning of what they're going away with, which is a traditional sweat lodge cloth that is used for prayer bags. So.
Okay. I also see on here you have a cat's eye necklace. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, that's my men's collection. A lot of women like it though. The premise was for men because it's kind of chunkier. Mm-hmm. So the cat's eye is very powerful. It's like to open your mind to see through the other side. It's a raw stone, which I really love raw stones. It's not polished. Raw stones to me means like obviously hence raw. There's it's purely coming straight from the earth. So it has a lot of energy, which traditionally we really believe stones have a lot of meaning and a lot of energy. And what's beautiful about these is that not only does it have the cat's eye, it also has different wooden beads in it as well, which also brings you to an earthy level. And it has something called sinew, which that is what that cat's eye is wrapped in. Sinew is actually the deer's intestines. That's what they make that string from. I know that sounds kind of gross, but that's what traditionally.
That string, you said it's a deer's intestine?
Yes, that's what sinew is. Like if you look up that in general, if you look up sinew, it's basically intestines. And the reason why we did that is, well, because we would use the whole animal, and actually it's very strong. Like that's gonna last pretty much forever. Plus, it also has another layer of being extremely natural and bringing it down to earth. So now we have an animal that is connected to your necklace. You have an earthy cat's eye stone, which traditionally is to open up and to connect, if you're very much into connecting to the spirit world, and or if you're into that, it will give you that level of consciousness because now you have animal, parts, you have stone that comes from the earth, and now we have wooden beads, which is now we're talking about the earth, the trees, which is very nice. And then it's with a leather rope. So it really brings a lot of natural elements. And men really like it because it's kind of chunky. And there's lots of different bracelets that go with it. But what's beautiful about it is it can be adjustable. So they can adjust it when they want as well.
Right.
So if they want it really long, they could leave it long. If they want it shorter, you can make it shorter.
Okay. And what about your quartz necklace?
So the quartz necklace, it's basically the same chunky one you're talking about.
Yeah, the one right above it. Yep.
Yeah. So that is very cool because the quartz stone is what I call the eye to the other side. So if you're into spirit connection, or if you want to be connected to your ancestors or a family member, that's kind of what we call a level stone, meaning you're always open to that vibe. It also has a very calming element to it, but I've always had the premise that it's a very connecting level, meaning it's clear. In a simplistic sense, there's nothing holding it back. You can see right through it. So it's kind of that premise.
Okay. And what about your dream catcher?
Yeah, so I have a lot of different dream catchers. I have your traditional ones where it's leather wrapped, and I have, I think I have a couple sinew ones that so the dream catcher, threading has sinew, and then I also have, I believe as well, a hemp cord. So that's also really nice. Once again, it's a natural element. So it's not just a string, it's hemp, which is very neat too. And it's also pretty sturdy. It should last a really long. And there's usually a lot of stones in it. I think I have one that has cat's eye, a black onyx, and a couple that have, I think, a couple feathers. I have so many, and they come and go. So I don't know what's on there and what's left, but I have a couple that has feathers, stones, all the feathers in there, all natural. They're turkey feathers, all from inner wing to outer wing feathers. So they're not, like some aren't real. It's all real materials.
Yeah. So how do you find the time to make all those beautiful pieces?
You don't sleep. It's like, because I'm an artist, because I make a lot of different other things as well. It's kind of like when you're an artist, when you're in that vibe, you just go till you're done, and that's kind of what happens. I kind of get into this movement of making them, and I have new ideas of doing things, and I just start going. And I don't have like endless amounts because most of them are custom made. Most of them I'll talk to people and I'll make custom ones, but the ones I have, I kind of just go, it doesn't take that long. It just, you gotta start and stop, and that's basically it's relaxing to me, actually. Yeah.
Yes, I love it. So I know you have 100 acres and a couple of mules on your property. So, what are your plans to add more to your property? Like, I know you want to add a studio. I know we've been talking about that, adding a studio to your property. Is there anything else you want to add, or just will the studio be your newest addition?
Well, I definitely want to get a studio and a production area for videos.
Okay.
I'm lucky to know a lot of very cool artists, and I want to be able to have a place for them possibly to create something here. So not only could they create their music, but that's really stressful. You know what I mean? That's like a lot of work, especially if you're trying to grind to get a whole album start to finish. It's a lot of stress.
Right.
So I want to have a place for people to come and do that. But then on the flip side, they can get one-on-one therapy and
Healing.
alternative
Yes.
healing. And then they can, because I do holistic medicines and different herbs and things like that. So they'll have all those herbs here and we can interact with different things. And it's completely exclusive and private. So no
Right.
one's coming on, no one's going to bother them. So that's what I'm hoping for, as well as for clients to be able to create music, especially when we do drum circles in
Mhm.
different, cultures that I get to work with. We could actually make a healing song for them,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they could forever have that for them. And I ultimately want to create a mix that everybody that makes one, I
Mhm.
want to make a track. I want to put everybody's little song together
Right.
and then make music with that. Obviously it's going to sound much different, but it will be their beat, their moment, and then put it all together. And it would literally be their healing song.
Yes. That sounds so cool. So I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to that part too.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, people want to take back their power. They want to be
Mhm.
free, you
Mhm.
know, and I think that's the ultimate thing that I'm trying to do. People feel very like they're not accepted. There's so much racial divide. There's so much tragedy and so much stuff going on. And I want a place where people can come and they can be themselves and be free and literally be themselves and not be like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? No, do
Right.
whatever you want. If you want to come here and go in my healing building, flip on the music and scream,
Mhm.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
You go
Just
ahead.
do
If
that.
that's what you need, there shouldn't be a limit on what makes you feel okay.
Right.
I mean, if you're not hurting anyone and you're not doing anything, but that makes you happy,
Mhm.
then you should have a place to do that
Right.
and not feel like your skin color, your orientation,
Mhm.
whatever it is, people are going to chastise you. And
Right.
that's ultimately what I want. I want people to feel safe and
Mhm.
they can do what they want in multi levels, not only for adults, for children,
Right.
and
Whole family.
it's everybody, because there is no place. There are no community centers really anymore
Mm-mm.
that let you be free.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's always like, oh, you can't do that. You're too loud. You're too this.
Yeah, you can't do
I
this. Yep.
But I want kids to come here, and if they want to do something, present it to me. Let's talk about it and let's do it.
Right.
My premise is I don't say no to anyone. I basically say, let's figure it out. I'm sure we can do it.
Right.
Let's do it. Because that's the problem. Everybody's told no.
Mhm.
And there's
We
a
need more
point here.
yeses.
Yeah. And how do you grow? How do you feel comfortable in yourself? How do you understand who you are if everybody's telling you what you think and what you want is not acceptable?
Right. And
So
what made you want to put all these different attractions like on your property? Like I know sometimes with businesses, you want your business to be one place and then you want your home to be another place because your home is like your relaxation, your peace of mind where you actually get away from work. So what actually made you want to have like combine those two together?
Well, I would say I've been here for 26. I've been here since 1998.
Mm.
I basically really been doing it since I'd say 99,
Okay.
early 2000s. I've always done it, but more on a smaller scale to a certain extent, or certain groups of people I've always worked with.
Right.
So I've always had both at the same time, but people really need a space that they feel safe.
Right.
And that's not the case. And at one point, I had clients that were what I call on, 24-hour care.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be easier for them to come to me than to drive to them, so to speak.
Right. Yeah.
So it just made more sense. If I really want to dedicate my life to heal or protect people, why not have it in my home? Because I'm telling people I respect and love you as a human.
Mm-hmm.
You're coming into my home because my home now is your home.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is a little rough, but I've always had a business here for so long. It's kind of all I know. It doesn't bother me. Um, but maybe I guess if there was like thousands of people, then it would be different, and that'd be different ballpark altogether. So, but as of it's a loyal to me. It's being respectful to them,
Mm-hmm.
and in return, most people are respectful back
Right.
because I'm giving them full respect to come to my home.
Okay. And you're
Yeah,
located in Lambertville, New Jersey.
correct.
For those
Yeah.
that don't know.
Yeah, not too far from 202, 95, 179.
Yeah.
Pretty centrally located.
Yes. Yes. So I want to talk about the MMIW.
Okay, very
It's
nice.
Murdered Indigenous People. So
Yep.
I know that's a very heartfelt topic to you. So I definitely want to get into that more. I want you to explain that and just talk about the cause and just let's just go all into it so we can make other people aware of what that is.
Yeah, it's pretty deep. So the MMIW is Murdered Missing Indigenous People. So
Mm.
it's all Indigenous people. It doesn't always mean just Native Americans. It's anyone. I mean, you hear these stories all the time. People, leave to go home from a party and they're not home.
Right.
They're missing. It's
Hmm.
the same premise. We need to make light of what's going on and why this is happening, and
Hmm.
ultimately why nothing's getting done,
Right.
and why certain groups, there's, tons of people looking for those and others not. And we
Right.
don't want to talk about it, and we don't want to make light because we don't want to be the ones who are, being over dramatic. But the reality is, statistics will tell you what is happening here. So it's been going on for quite some time where I think if you go statistically, I think it's something like every less than 3 or 4 minutes,
Hmm.
an indigenous person is missing or murdered.
Right.
Um, and statistically, I think our native culture are the most hated culture out there. You can like look this up. It will blow your mind. And I did not that we all don't have a little something going on, but it's amazing how unfortunately we're never talked about. We're never really put out there about what's happening. And
Right.
it's been going on for a really long time to the point where, they created a movement, and the movement is to push just awareness. No, I don't know if you've ever seen where people have their a red handprint over their face or a red dress. If you see that on
Hmm.
social media,
Yes, I
that's
have.
basically, yeah, that's about murdered and missing indigenous people. And it happens so much. It's almost disturbing.
Right.
um, and nothing gets done.
Why do you think that is though? Like, why do you think that's like the media don't talk about that as much?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, in your time in school, how much did you learn about Native Americans?
Not
Nothing.
much. Not much.
Except for Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving, actually, the premise of Thanksgiving is the day. I don't, I have never, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving because Thanksgiving to my people is a day of genocide. It's actually the day that Thanksgiving has been talked about through or everywhere is actually the day that Columbus came and murdered most of us. That's what they call Thanksgiving. It's the day that they sat and ate, where we were kind to them and all this stuff. The reality is that's not really what happened. It's they invaded and killed and conquered, and that's really the true meaning of Thanksgiving.
Right.
So
they invaded the Indian land.
Yep. Yeah.
Indians on Thanksgiving Day, on that day.
It wasn't. No, they just. That's what they created. There was no Thanksgiving. That's what they called it.
Right.
So what the premise is when he came over to say that he found a new land, he didn't. You know what I mean? But he wanted to take it. So what it was is that certain cultures elaborated that was a great day, but that because they came here and they have a new land and they started invading it. And that's what ultimately Thanksgiving is about, is them sitting at the table, the colonizers sitting at the table and eating amongst themselves, not the Indians.
Right. Okay.
So that's what essentially it really is about. So I guess the short of it is most people know nothing about our culture. It's not really talked about. The stuff that is talked about is not, it's their version of what it is, not really what the version is. And it's nobody's fault, because if you don't know, you don't know.
Right.
But the reality is that should tell you the vastity of how they don't want to talk about our culture. And it's mostly because if you're a group of people who know that you've destroyed and caused a genocide, do you really think you're going to talk about them? Because that means you're going to have to enlighten what you did.
Right.
And if you enlighten what you did, then people are going to realize that the reason why America exists is because you killed all of our culture. And then if you didn't kill us, you put us in residential schools to take our culture away, and then give us Christian names and do all that. So they completely took everything from us. Right. So the reason why no one knows about us is because they're still doing that. Right. The only reason
we know about y'all. We know about y'all because I remember as a child, like even in my community where I grew up at, when we think of Indians, we think of like the long, pretty hair and the ties that go around your head. So when we would buy fake hair and stuff like that, and people would question whether our hair was real, like one of the things we used to say was, of course my hair real. I got a little Indian in my blood. So we definitely know about the Indians. Sure. Like we love Indians. Like that was, I remember as a child, that was one of the things we used to always rep. I used to always tell people, I got Indian in my blood. I probably really do though, somewhere down the line.
You probably really do. I always encourage people, get your blood work, because when I got mine done, I was like, holy crap, this is so cool, but let's think about it. I mean, it shouldn't be a shock to know what's really in us.
Right.
But if you think about it, if we all have so much native in us, then and the other colonizers only have one, who was first?
Right. Right.
But so basically the MMIW is just an awareness and a movement for us to really be aware of, and it's not just women, it's children, it's men, it's families. It's just an easier way to describe it. But I actually have a memorial on my place where I fly a flag, the MMIW flag,
Mm-hmm.
always on the property. And if someone brings me, unfortunately, a flag of a missing family member or murdered, I will fly that flag for them, because I will absolutely show them respect and love, and always let them know someone, excuse me, gives a shit.
Right. Someone's here.
Sorry.
Someone cares about you. Yeah. Yes. I think that
But
is so wonderful what you're doing.
yeah, yeah. So it's a movement that is growing more and more. A lot of museums right now are
Mm-hmm.
actually putting things in their museums now about it. So yeah.
That's good. Yes, and then you keep doing what you're doing and keep spreading the word, and I don't think the Indian culture has died. I don't see as many as Indians as I would love to see, but like I'm very interested in the culture. I'm very interested in the type of way that you guys do things, from like your prayers. One of the things I've always been interested in, and I've only seen it in movies though, where it's like you guys all sit around in a circle and the smoke is coming up in the air, and like y'all are chanting and everybody is chanting to like the same tune. And I don't know what it is, but it just always seemed like it was just something so powerful. So I just was always like curious, curious of that when it came to like, because we didn't have that. Like you said, they try to make you into the Christians um, or the Muslims or the Baptists or the just different things. So just
Of
having
course.
like a natural way to pray and a natural way to do things, that wasn't something that we grew up on. But I'm very interested in that though.
Well, that's kind of what I do.
Right.
That's what my healing building basically is. I have a huge altar there, and
Mm-hmm.
the altar consists of a buffalo head in the center. Sounds a little weird, but the buffalo is actually a very powerful animal to our people, because it's what kept us alive.
Right.
We ate the meat, we used the fur, we used everything from the animal to survive.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it was so important to have that in my prayer spot, because if it wasn't for the buffalo, we wouldn't have, created our life for so long. And then, of course, unfortunately, the colonizers killed all the buffalo, which then made us starve. And that was the Trail of Tears. And I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
you've heard of that story. So to me, the buffalo in my prayer building was an absolute 100% thing I needed to have there to, open people's minds on how perfect it is that, the buffalo is basically means everything to us. And we
So
pray to that.
is it just that you have the buffalo's head, just the head, or is it like the whole body?
It's just the head. It sounds a little weird, but
How
it
do you
is.
reserve it? Like, that's okay. How do you reserve the buffalo's head from like? Does it go bad, or do you have to keep changing it? Like, how? I want to know more about that.
Okay, so it's pretty well, it's interesting. Everybody has a different premise because it's so large. I mean, it's a very big head.
Mm-hmm.
It came to me with obviously everything on it. It was actually gifted to me, which was very nice. Someone gave it to me. Um, so prior to getting to me, it was buried for a little while. So it had a moment of decomposing, which I personally wanted to keep all the fur and kind of on it. Some
Okay.
people don't like that. They want it to be just the skull and everything. I wanted to try to preserve that moment symbolically,
Mm-hmm.
because it kind of gives you the premise of when it was alive and now it's not, like in the spirit world. So I
Okay.
wanted that concept. But so a lot of people believe you need to bury it for a while, because basically the natural way of having all of these skulls get cleaned is all the bugs eat it. So during the summer months, all the bugs would go in and eat it and get rid of every matter that's in there that can rot or stink.
Right. Okay. So you
That's what,
actually, so you bury it every couple months?
no, in the beginning. In the
Okay.
beginning.
So now you don't have to do that anymore.
No, it's at a point where it's fine, and it's perfectly fine right now because I wanted it to have that multi-layer of not only the skull but um, some of the fur.
Okay.
Uh,
Gotcha.
some people don't want that; they want it all skulls. I mean, I have so many skulls in my house; it's crazy. I have like heads everywhere
What type of
because.
skulls you have?
Well, I mean, I could grab one right now.
Yes,
It's like
grab one, grab one.
so. Basically, I have a deer
I
skull.
was ready. I was ready to say a deer.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So I have, technically, if you walk enough, you'll find these because unfortunately, deer just die from natural causes or
Yes.
people hunting. So you can find them all over if you're really hiking. Some of these were from my hunting, from me personally hunting, because I use all the deer parts. I
Mhm.
also have a bear here that came from Alaska. I have all sorts of very cool things. A lot of people call my house, they say it's like a museum because I have so many things because I treasure everything I have because
Right.
spiritually it has energy and meaning. And I want to always be surrounded by that. So it's very
Right.
important for me to live traditionally to my greatest power that I
Right.
can
Yes.
and respect the land, respect the water, help as many as I can, always put good energy out there
Yes.
and always do as much as I can. And like all of us, it's good, but we always have that ramification of some people who are racist or this and that. And I try to get people to, you know, never worry about that because ultimately it's their own demons that make them that way.
Right.
Be
Yep.
grateful you're not that way and that you're a better person and have a good heart because you don't think like that. That means you're touched by very special people
Yeah.
and just look at it that way. Just walk away and just maybe a little giggle and just say, okay, I'm sorry you're in that space. I'm going to keep it moving because I got to find my people that understand me and I'm ready to help and communicate with people who get that. And that's the most important thing. Take a really good positive from a really bad negative.
Yes. Okay. I love it. I love it. I love it. So we're gonna get
Yeah,
into some girl stuff now. We
for
got a
sure.
few more minutes left. Let's get into some girl stuff. So, girl stuff. I want to talk plastic surgery because I want to get my lips done. One of the reasons why I was in an abusive relationship, and
Oh,
um, I got like a couple of blows to my face. So one of
I'm
my
so
like
sorry.
one side of my lip is it look when I look in the mirror, it looks like one side is like down. I think it was because my nose, my lip was split. So I
Mm.
that I want to do to my face. So I want to do some. I think I was telling you that before too. So I want to do some fillers. I want to do some fillers in my face, and I also want to do some lip injections. So, what like type of advice do you have for me, or like who's the best surgeon, or like just if you have experience with it, like what can you enlighten me on that with?
Well, I personally, I think people should do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Me.
mean? If it isn't hurting anyone and it makes you happy, you know what? You live once. You know what I
Right.
say? Just do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just a filler. It isn't, it's not surgery. I mean, there are surgeries. I wouldn't suggest that. You don't, you don't need that. I mean, that's like for, people who are going to get major reconstruction. Um,
Right.
but there's plenty of people. There's, the Brunewicks are in, I think they're in Doylestown. Really not, they're actually good friends of mine. Um, they do very good work. They're expensive, but the products are safe. There's so many
Okay.
products out there that are, black market, and
Yeah.
who knows. Um, there's
I
so
had
many
a
systems.
friend, and
Mhm.
my friend, she went and she went and she got injections, like ass shot injections, but whatever they put in there, it messed her up for like life. So it's some type of like cement, and it turned her butt like really hard. So she had to go back into, like, she was actually on a TV show. It's a TV show. It was the K Michelle TV show. I think it was called like it was something dealing with plastic surgeries and stuff, because K Michelle had got her butt and stuff done. So she was getting hers taken out, and then she was offering other girls the opportunity to see doctors and do stuff like that too. But the injections that she had got into her butt, it was like it was something toxic, but she didn't know. The price was cheap for her. She just knew she wanted to get her ass done, and it kind of like ruined her. So they literally had to cut like chunks. They had to cut chunks of her butt out and tear like layers of her skin off to try to get that toxin out of her. And then even still now, she has trouble with like walking and stuff. So she don't even have it all out. So I definitely know the importance that you're talking about when you're saying that it's safe, because a lot of doctors and these procedures, they do them and they may be cheap, but they aren't safe. Like they can screw you up for life. So I definitely understand that part.
Yeah, no, it definitely. I mean, if it's expensive, then I'm going to tell you it's real. If it sounds cheap, you should be very careful.
Right.
But the Bunarix plastic surgery, they're in Doylestown. I would trust them with just about anything, mostly because they're real products. They're not, fake. I have a couple friends who have like one of those drive carts that, they could drive, and they do. I mean, I think their products are real. I don't really particularly know. I haven't seen them, but you always just have to be careful on what people are putting out there. And be careful with Botox, because that a lot of people have reactions to that, and they're so quick to always give that to people, and that's the one that is the very dangerous one. But a lot of people do it and don't have a problem. That is a scary one to me. A lot of people I know, but you can always, kind of, find out more. But it is an investment, if you want to do that. There are more permanent procedures, kind of like, rhinoplasty, like nose jobs. They do have things for, your mouth if you needed it. But that's like gets into another level of money, and that's like surgery. So you have to get cleared to go get surgery. So that's, unless you have to do that, that's a lot of money. So, but like I said to you, if you want to do something, I mean, I could, we could talk, off this, I could give you a lot of information so you feel safe and secure. But yeah, you should be leery, because there's a lot of shysters out there and people who are just pushing products, and have to be careful, but it's like anything, you really got to do your research. But if that's what you want, then you should
go
do
for
it,
right?
Yeah,
I am.
Why not?
Why not? Yes. And also, Kate, I know that we talked about you wanting to do a podcast. So how are you coming along with that, with getting your podcast together for Beyond Energy? And like, what's the process of that right now?
So right now I'm kind of looking for a co-host. I did just get a donation of equipment, which was really, really nice, because when I was looking at it, I was like, do I have to get this? Do I have to get that? What the heck am I doing?
Right.
So now I'm kind of figuring out who can co-host with me. I mean, I could do it myself, but I think to get more movement is to bring someone who can actually work side by side. I have plenty of people who are ready to go in, a couple of really cool native rap artists that are waiting for me. So it's just trying to get that push, especially when you don't know what you're doing too. So
well, look, you're Aries, so you got it.
Yeah, I know exactly. Exactly.
So even if you feel like you don't got it, you got it, girl.
Yeah, we're crazy.
Yeah.
nonstop.
And also even with like I was saying, Diamond, this is Diamond, if you need some enlightenment on, like, you know, the podcast world, like he can pretty much fill you in, and he can like give you all the game. Like Diamond has been doing this for years. Diamond is actually a real live DJ. So if you ever have an event where you need a DJ, you might can hit up DJ.
Oh, you know,
Diamond.
actually, I'd love to talk to him because I actually want to do a couple different music events here, and because I could do it all year round. The building I have is huge building. It's a commercial building. I mean, you could probably put in that building 1,200 people.
Okay.
It's a huge building. Not that you would want that. I mean, I think you probably want something intimate and maybe, you know, something unique. You know what I mean? Where you could have, you know, a smoke bar, this bar, different kind of bars there.
Different bars.
Yeah.
Your drink bar, your smoke bar, a smoothie bar, whatever type of bar you want.
Yeah, and it's perfectly private. So, you know, you can make it like VIP or exclusive, or, you know, members only or something. So I've thought of a lot of things that could be utilized. So not just what I'm doing, but because I want it to be very music oriented in general. And I want to bring, hopefully I'd like to have a place where beginning artists can come and showcase, you know, whatever art they're doing. Literally, you know, singers, rap artists, you know, musicians, anything, you know. I was trying to probably put together a, you know, oh God, I can't even think of what it's called right now. A poetry event, you know, where people can come, poets can come, you know, with the music, and they could kind of just go crazy, you know, like stand-up poets. You know?
That would be dope. That would be so dope. So I think you should put all those ideas and just go for it. Like,
no, I definitely am. It's just trying to network with people who want to get involved, because it's kind of, it's a different atmosphere, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think, you know, there's a lot of people who want to get involved. You just got to spread the word out. And like I said, Diamond's a DJ, so whenever you're ready to get these events started, you know, look, you can book DJ Diamondk.
Oh, that would be incredible. I definitely want to talk to him, because there's a couple events that I could have probably used him.
Yes. So when we get off of here, we're gonna go into like when we get off of here, don't hang up, stay on, so we can go into like we're gonna go back into like a breakout room, so we can just, you know, have some general conversation and stuff. You're on mute, Katie. Okay. And I see your Beyond Energy hoodies.
Yep.
Yes. Beyond Energy. So, yes. So everybody, make sure y'all go to Katie's website, beyondenergycenter.com. Make sure y'all hit her up. She has some amazing products, accessories, like everything you guys need for healing. We didn't get into the sage, but she has sage on there too. That's one of my favorite products, the sage.
Oh yeah, so much tobacco, sage, and coughing attack there. Yeah, a lot of medicine, different medicine. Okay.
Yes. So make sure y'all check Katie out. Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of the Keita Maria Show. You're rocking with OnFireTV.com, and we will see you guys next week at 9 p.m. Bye, Katie.
Bye.
Get ready, Baltimore, for the biggest birthday bash of the year for the legendary DJ Terry T and all Sagittarius. Saturday, December 2nd, 8 to 2 a.m. at the Protectical Arena, 3301 Annapolis Road, with 2 rooms of non-stop music inside of Ballroom 1.
Featuring the legendary DJ Terry T, Kenny K, DJ Booby, DJ Titan, DJ AZ, DJ XTC, DJ Fat, and Kim Charles on the bongo.
Inside Ballroom 2, Tommy Davis,
DJ Ramsey, DJ Fella, DJ Exotic, Jeffrey C, and DJ Technique. hosted by Ryan the Lion, MC Ice, and the Professor, along with Stephen Bell.
Listen, this party is gonna be damn ridiculous.
Advance tickets just $20, tables $200, and they come with 10 tickets. Tickets available at Eventbrite, Aesthetic Creation, Security Mall, Silver Star Restaurant, Bonaparte Avenue, Terry T Production, 443-953-1966.
You don't want to miss this as we shut the city down for the Sagittarius.
Saturday, December 2nd at the Patapsco Arena.
Be there!